Hi, I'm Trez Burton, and what I want to talk about today is I would like to know now that to most black folks, Barack Obama is the most high, and they've been able to defend him through 6 straight years of failure. I'd like to know that now that he's responsible for bringing Ebola, which has never been in our country, there is no record, no history of Ebola ever being in the United States. I would like to know if they could even defend this failure of a president through this. He has brought Ebola into our country. Yes, it's his fault. It's his fault, whether you say it or not, because standard operating procedure is to restrict all flights coming from. As soon as we learned of that outbreak in Liberia, standard operating procedure would be to restrict all flights coming from there. And our borders open, so now you have these diseased kids coming into the country and being shipped all over the place, God knows where. And now American kids are showing up in hospitals with the respiratory disorders, and I don't know the actual names for some of these conditions, but the disease that affects the child's respiratory system, and cases of TB, and I don't know, diseases that we eradicated in the United States decades ago. They're starting to reemerge now. And to put the icing on the cake, we have the first confirmed case of Ebola now. And this man has admittedly come in contact with other people. So other cases are going to pop up soon. You can count on it. And this administration hides so much that who even knows the truth? I mean, because they pretend not to know anything, and according to this big-eared bastard, he hears the news the same time we hear it. He's getting his news from the newspaper and television just like we are. And you got to be pretty fucking dumb to believe that the president of the United States is finding things out at the same time through the same outlets that you are. I mean, and they run MSNBC. They know what MSNBC is going to say before they say it because it comes from the White House. Excuse me. The clown network. That's what the C stands for in MSNBC. Clowns. That's what all of them are. And I don't know. And I'm just waiting to hear black people defend this failed president, this failure of a president, even through this Ebola mess. They defended him through Fast and Furious, this bad economy, scandal after scandal, targeting conservatives. And the defense for that was, oh, well, they targeted liberal groups too. The IRS shouldn't be targeting anyone. No citizen from no wing of any party, no matter what you stand for, they shouldn't be targeting anyone. So that's not a defense that they targeted liberal groups too. And plus, on top of that, it was a flat out lie anyway. We have and that's if black people even know everything that's going on, because we get our news from the liberal clown networks, who basically they don't even cover all of these scandals. The scandal, unless the scandal bubbles up to a point where they have to talk about it, then they'll touch on it, but it'll be from a defensive standpoint where well, these conservatives, they hate him, and white people are still just picking on him because 6 years in, they just can't come to grips with having a black president. Yeah, okay, if you're dumb enough to believe that, then fine. But this man, and I personally don't believe he's a failure. I believe everything that's going on is on purpose. So what we're viewing is his failures. I believe in his heart these are successes. But, I mean, successes towards the destruction of America. Because I believe in his heart he believes America is cruel and unfair and had to be knocked down to size, and he's here to do it. America needed a spanking, and he's here with his belt. He's the man that's going to do it. And I gotta admit, he's doing what I feel, if he isn't stopped, irreparable damage. And hopefully, with today's October 1st, we're a month away from the midterms, and America's a resilient country. I have hopes that we can turn it around, but this man has two more years of damage left, and I'm not sure the country is wising up quick enough to him. I mean, if you go by polls, white men were the first ones that woke up to him, and they started leaving him in large numbers. And this was before the 2012 election, and now it shows that he's losing the support of women in big numbers, because married women, by and large, they lean Republican anyway. But now he's losing single women, and I'll just be honest with you. I have no hope whatsoever for black people. I believe the 90% of us that are liberal slaves and have been for the last 50 years, I believe we're going to stay that way, even though I'm a convert myself. I was 35 when I woke up to the big liberal lie, and I've been on the right side of things for 6 years now. But for some reason, I still just don't have much hope that many blacks will wake up. I believe even decades from now that even with all the proof in front of you, that 90% of us will continue to march to the polls and pull the lever for Democrats, because it's not a result-based things with it's not a result-based thing with us. Because even with the proof in front of us, with every liberal-run state, every liberal-run city and state has turned to shit over the decades. New York, New Jersey, California being the worst of all. Chicago, Illinois. You have Detroit's completely turned to shit. Michigan, and you look at the thriving states, Texas. Scott Walker, he's turned Wisconsin around. South Carolina. Conservative leadership works, and the proof is right there if you're willing to look at it. If you're willing to look at it and you're susceptible to a rational explanation, and you're able to look at things objectively and see, like, okay, this is New York, this is Texas, compare the two, lay it all out for a person, and if they're susceptible to it, then it should be clear, and the transition shouldn't take much longer than that. But that's just it. We're not susceptible to it. I don't know, that lie is so ingrained in us, the liberal lie, because, I mean, that's all we hear from birth. That, all we know is, Democrat good, Republican bad. If you were to lay out the actual platform of both parties, most people, I'm willing to bet, would agree with the Republican platform if you take the name Republican out of it, because we've just been trained to respond to those names. Tea Party bad, it's like an impulse. Republican, oh bad, You say low taxes, yeah, less more money in your paycheck, yeah, more jobs, higher paying jobs, expansion, companies growing. Yeah, it all sounds good. But then when you attach the name Republican to it, it becomes bad, it becomes taboo. That is, I don't know. We're a non-thinking society now, and it really scares me just how much, that is spread. I don't know whether that's becoming more of our norm, just to be a non-thinking society and be okay with that. But now with Ebola in the country, I just wonder if anyone's even willing to blame this president for it, because yes, it is his fault. And these are some of the same people who blame W for a hurricane, a natural disaster. In 2005, there were people who blamed George W. Bush for Hurricane Katrina ripping apart New Orleans. They skipped right over Mr. Chocolate City, who's in jail now, Nagin. They skip right over this guy. They skip right over blaming the Democrat governor and go straight to the president, because it has to be his fault. the old Republican white guy. It has to be his fault for a damn natural disaster and the response to it. All his fault. Everything that went wrong, this guy's fault. Then you get this big-eared loser in office and everything just flips on his head. Nothing is his fault. I mean, things that truly are his fault, is it now you say, oh, these are just white people picking on him. Really? Really? I don't know. And I see, if you turn on the TV, you see a whole bunch of white clowns defending this guy. I mean, they're not at least it's not a whole race of people that support that who 90% of them are willing to be this guy's slave. But I mean, God, they have their share of clowns too. I mean, they don't hate him. They put him in office. So that whole, white people hate him, that argument was bullshit from the start. But after 6 years of failure, how can you still stick to that argument? I mean, this doesn't look good for us as a thinking society. It doesn't look good for us at all. I mean, just failure after failure. Too many to name. I mean, the video would be 2 hours long if you wanted to talk about all of his failures. But now with Ebola, and I'm guessing, just like everything else, you're willing to look past it and say it's not his fault and he had no control over it, and you'll, I don't know, find some way to blame some white people or blame the Republicans, because that's what the media is doing already. And let me tell you something else about these elitist Democrats. They don't care about these diseased kids coming into the country, because they don't mind shipping them all over the place, because these kids won't be sitting next to their kids and grandkids in school. They're going to be sitting next to your kids in these schools with their diseases and things that we eradicated in the United States a long time ago. These diseased kids are going to be sitting next to your kids with these with the respiratory disorders and the and tuberculosis and a couple of other conditions that I'm hearing about that are the numbers are spiking in different cities around the country. And I don't know. I'm just wondering how much are people willing to accept and not blame this man for, and black people in particular, because really I don't know. I'm damn near convinced that we're incapable of thinking. We're incapable of critical thinking. And I don't just mean the welfare crowd. I mean people, productive people who get up, go to work every day, raise kids, grandkids, they run their households and everything. But when you lay these logical, practical arguments out for them, they just can't grasp it. I mean, and even with 50 years of proof of your cities turning to shit under Democrat leadership. And I'll tell you something else about Obama. That man gives a shit about one person, and that is Barack Obama. He doesn't care about black people, white people. He loves rich white people because, the ones that keep him funded. He loves them. So don't believe for a second that, all these attacks on the rich and stuff like that. No. Liberals do not hate rich people. They hate conservative rich people. He doesn't care about blacks, whites. He doesn't care about anyone. He doesn't care about this country, and he doesn't care about the Democrat Party. I don't know whether you know that or not, but he doesn't give a shit about them either. He does things that ruin their chances. And of course, I like this because as a conservative, I want these Democrats to lose. I want them to lose their races for the Senate and the House, but he does things that where the timing of it is it damages them. It damages their chances. And you would think that he would at least care about them, but to him, the Democrat Party was just a vehicle through which he pushes his agenda through. That's it. He does not care about them like that. I don't think he cares about anyone like that. So just to give you an idea, but of course, you have the 90% of black people that will march around like his zombies. And if you were to talk to him, yes, they think he's trying. They think he cares. Because even the exit polls after the 2012 election, the exit polls showed that 81% of people felt more like Obama cares about people than Mitt Romney. I mean, and I don't know whether that's just because Romney's rich, he's white. I don't know how you come up with that, but yeah, people really think this dope cares about them, and he doesn't. And even if you were fooled, I'll even give you a pass if you were fooled by him in 2008, 2009. In 2014, if you are still fooled by this miscreant, there's nothing to be said about you except the fact that, I don't know, you don't even want to see the truth. You couldn't, or either you're incapable of seeing it, because the proof is there. The proof is there. And now with Ebola, I'm just curious to know. I am going to have I mean, normally, again, I don't even engage black people about political matters, because I don't have the time or the patience. But on this one, I am going to engage a few, because I just really want to see where they are with this Ebola thing and the other diseases popping up in the country. Stuff that things that are detrimental to them and their own families. I want to see where they stand on it, because you better believe these diseased kids won't be anywhere near Sasha and Malia, and it's just a complete mess. So I'm going to report back once I have these discussions, and I have a feeling I'll be disappointed. I hope I'm not, but hey, anyway, I'm at Tresidential on Twitter, and good day and good luck.